COVID fines have been handed out left, right and centre during lockdown. Even premiers have been slugged for breaking the health orders. Today, Daniel Andrews copped a fine for not wearing a mask. Others claim they've copped a raw deal.
Oops. No one's been above the law when it comes to COVID. And after 18 months of telling other people to wear a mask, Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews slipped up and forgot his own twice.
Any other issues?
He's not the first and won't be the last to cop a fine. His mistake was clear as day. But some residents feel their wrongs were right.
It's my first time being pulled over also. I was a bit scared, so hadn't done anything wrong. Obviously, he thought not wearing a mask in the car was wrong.
We were 500 metres from home. We were socially distanced. There was no one near us.
I have said before, if you write a ticket and you get it wrong, I understand and I won't hold you to account for that.
It's not like I was having a party at my house. I was just going for a simple ride with my partner, go and have some exercise.
Police have issued fines to, we believe, probably thousands of people undertaking lawful outdoor recreation.
To help stop the spread of COVID, public health orders were put in place and police were given powers to fine and in some cases arrest people should they fail to comply. But a number of Aussies claim they've been unfairly fined and they don't think they should have to pay.
$500 means a lot to me. I've always worked. I've always had to work for my money my entire life.
For hospitality worker Samantha, seeing her boyfriend Dom during lockdown has been everything.
That's one of the few reasons that I've stayed sane through all of this, honestly.
But when the pair were on their way to the beach the other day for essential exercise, they were pulled over and fined.
For not wearing a mask in an indoor area, I think the ticket said.
Samantha was confused. She can hug and kiss her boyfriend and spend the night with him, but she can't sit in a car with him without wearing a mask?
Yeah, it was pretty shocking, and it doesn't really make sense to me either that you can go and visit your partner at their houses and stuff, but when you're in a car with them, you suddenly have to be wearing a mask. I mean, I'm not exactly sure if they're expecting us to be wearing masks the entire time we're visiting them at their house, but I think that is a bit ridiculous. If that is the case, I don't see how that would be very compassionate at all.
Nakia and her mum also got fined for not wearing masks in the car and for being outside their LGA.
Started packing away my groceries and things like that. My mother and I were still wearing our mask. Once we had got in the car, we removed our masks, not thinking anything of it. We started to drive out of the car park, and as soon as I drove out of the car park, he'd put his lights on and pulled me over.
How much were the fines for you and your mum?
$3,000 in total between the both of us.
How much does that money mean to you guys?
Oh, that's ridiculously a lot of money, especially during this hard time that we're in. Unfortunately, I've lost my job during the COVID pandemic, and my mother's only just struggling to get day-to-day work. Unable to drive and shopping by herself.
Nakia suffers from anxiety and has a doctor's note saying she can't travel alone.
I just felt like he wasn't being fair at all towards me, and so I just felt really intimidated. And once he had driven off, I actually got my mum to drive home because I started crying and stuff, and I didn't feel right to drive home.
She also claims they were within 5 kilometres of home.
Maybe if it was an Uber share ride or a taxi that we had got, then fair enough, we would wear a mask. But being our own vehicle, I didn't understand it at all.
Since June 25 in New South Wales, there's been 47,375 fines issued to the value of $42.9 million for COVID offences. But only 11% have so far been paid. In Queensland, there's been far fewer dished out, 3,903 since the pandemic began. But in the most locked down state, Victoria, figures released to News Corp in August revealed only 8% of 38,948 COVID fines had been paid, with the Victorian government chasing $54.8 million worth of unpaid fines. James and his partner got slapped with $1,000 fines while enjoying a noodle soup.
I was very surprised. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I was within less than half a kilometre of home. I'd checked in, I had my mask. I understood that recreation is permitted.
How was the noodle soup?
It was a very expensive noodle soup. Ironically, I was already finished the soup by the time the policeman came. I was putting my mask back on by the time he approached me. So I had finished my noodle soup. My partner was mid-gulp.
Samantha Lee from Redfern Legal Centre has taken on James's case and many others.
We are getting calls on a daily basis with people asking us for assistance who have been issued with COVID fines for $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. We can't keep up with the demand.
She says the ever-changing rules in New South Wales have been confusing for everyone and there needs to be compassion.
These public health laws have been amended over 60 times. It has been very difficult keeping up with these complex orders, and no doubt police have struggled with that. It is up to the New South Wales Government to clean up this mess and to ensure those who have been fined unlawfully do not have to go through a really complex appeal process.
The police say those fines will not be revoked. For the record, mask rules do vary from state to state. All the details are on our homepage.